Hey everyone, it's Tim here, and I'm often asked what my favourite classical pieces are to teach students. So classical, I'm talking Baroque, Romantic, classical era pieces that I teach for sort of early intermediate, late beginner, early intermediate levels. And so I thought in this video, I'm going to share with you my top 5 of these classical pieces that I love teaching because one, of the teaching points that you can get out. The pedagogy is really sound and covers a whole lot of ground. Number 2, students just love them, and that's probably the most important part of it. All right, let's start up with the first one. It's the Adagio by Daniel Steibelt, and it sounds like this. So it's got a really romantic sound to it, and it's really important because this is one of those great pieces for teaching students early on about phrasing, and I'm using a little bit of pedal in this, although it's not essential. So we want to make sure all these little two-note phrases and ends of phrases are really nicely tapered off in that kind of classical style. We don't want this, which is really easy for students to do as well. So that's the Steibelt Adagio, really wonderful piece. All right, now I think it's super important for students to cover some Bach in their playing as early on as possible. So I've chosen this minuet from the Anna Magdalena Bach book. It's anonymous, formally attributed to Bach, and it's one that goes like this. It's in D minor. So in this one, you've got the beginnings of the complexity that Bach shows in so much of the well-tempered clavier, for example. We've got in the left hand, so much, such an important phrase just in the left hand. One big phrase, and then I separate my childhood teacher used to always write "so what" at the end of these. Like, it's kind of like, here's your phrase, so what? So we need to balance the growth of this phrase to here, and the end, and then you've got in the right hand this beautiful melody. Whoops. And again, a tapering off at the end. It's actually a really tricky little piece, even though it's around big preliminary level here in Australia. There is so much going on that students need to be aware of. And it goes on, of course. Lots more to explore and play, and I've got lots of teaching notes about that one that I can share with you as well. All right, now I also really enjoy preludes that are based around arpeggiated chords, so around broken chord patterns. Bach did lots of them, but I really like this one by Kuhnau. It's his preludium in G major, and it sounds like this. It develops and goes into all sorts of different little key areas, lovely chord shapes. It's a great one because students can learn how to play using the broken chords. So you learn it via chords and then break up the chords. And it also introduces pedal nice and early on as well, in a way that's not too complex for students. All right, my last two. The Loeschhorn study number 25, and we'll share links to some of these in the description below, is a beautiful one. It's a great introduction to the sound of Mozart and even Beethoven, and is a little bit more melodic than some of the Clementi sonatinas, although they're beautiful as well. If you aren't familiar with it, sounds like this. Sorry about some of my left hand going a bit funny in the middle there. It's just got so many lovely elements of balance and phrasing that students need to work on as they start to approach some of the harder sonatinas and works of Mozart and Beethoven. We've got the beautiful Alberti bass in the left hand, which needs to be nice and flowing and kept under the volume level of the rest of the piece, because we don't want this. We've got to get that balance, right? And then we've got the phrasing and beautiful melody of the right hand, making sure we phrase and shape everything and really pay attention to, in particular, the rests as well, which are often forgotten by students, aren't they? All right, and the last one is Bach Prelude or Preambulum BWV 927. It's in F major. It's a real favourite with students and teachers around the world. My teacher used to call this the lawnmower prelude, I think because it kind of, if you play it really badly, it can sound quite mechanical. That Alberti bass could just sound like some kind of machine. So I guess the point of calling it the lawnmower, perhaps by my teacher, is that it shouldn't sound like a lawnmower. But that's the piece anyway. And I just love that. I mean, it's like a walking bass line, isn't it? I mean, it is a walking bass line. It might not be jazz, but it's really fun, and students can really enjoy the harmonic shifts. We're in B flat, G minor. So there's lots to explore with students. You could analyse this and pull it apart and explore the chords and the suspensions and all that stuff. There's so much in it, and I just find students really enjoy it, particularly at the ending. It's got this. And I think that's a great place for students to use some pedal, even if they're not using much pedal in this piece otherwise. And that really reminds me of the Bach Toccata and Fugue in D minor. I think that's why I was really attracted to it as a student. What are your favourite teaching pieces for these younger, that sort of late beginner, early intermediate level? I would love to know. Put a link down the bottom so we can share it and learn from each other. And in the meantime, make sure you click that subscribe icon, wherever that is, and I'll see you next time.